Yeah, we grew up, but nobody warned us. Life moves fast when the world keeps turning. Kids in the backseat, parents getting older. Still leaning on my brothers when the weight gets colder. Whoa, we're all just trying to make it through. Whoa, love you, pal, I got you. Whoa, we're all just trying to make it through. Love ya, pal, I got you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 6 of the Love You Pal podcast. Back with you, Sean, Jay, and Mike, talking about the sandwich generation and all things having to do with millennial life. Looking at last week, talking about some golf. Hopefully you got to enjoy the end of the British Open. A really just amazing finish.
What a finish.
Congratulations
One of the best.
to
One of the best.
Foxy.
Foxy pulled
making
it off.
making a birdie on number 18 to secure the Claret Jug. So congrats to him. And hopefully you enjoyed us talking about golf and how it's kind of shaped our lives and the lessons that we learned from it. So this evening we're gonna talk about family vacations. So the struggles of family vacations, some of the memories that we have, how family vacations have transitioned a little bit from when we were younger in the 80s and 90s to today, where I feel like they had gotten more elaborate and now we're kind of getting back to those quick little road trips in the family truckster to destinations that are a little bit more attainable. So as always, if you like our content, if you don't like our content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification button to let you know when our next episode is dropping, and check us out on the socials. So without further ado, let's get into it. So my first question to the group is, what was the most memorable vacation that we ever took for you?
Most memorable vacation. I mean, I've got a lot of memories of vacations. I'm going to go.
I think you have, Jason and I were fortunate enough to go on a lot of trips for the annual meeting with Dad that you didn't unfortunately get to go on, because by that time, I think you went on like 2 or 3, but we went on a bunch of, I would call them, they weren't really family vacations, they were more trips, but it allowed us to get out and see the country a little bit more. But
Fly
I'm
first
talking
class to LA, baby.
yeah, buddy.
Do you remember
Not
flying
very
first
far.
class?
You never
And
flew first class.
I think you went to
no,
Seattle.
we flew when we went to
Yeah,
Seattle.
we flew to Seattle first class.
Because I had my orange diver that I kept getting yelled at playing with. Cuba
Steve.
So my most memorable family vacation is, I'm going to say, when we went down to Uncle Mike's and we were singing all kinds of songs in Uncle Mike's creepy van.
It wasn't creepy. It was a conversion van, bro.
It was a conversion van,
If
but
I could buy one right now, I would.
I mean, those things, they're clutch. They're clutch.
9 passengers.
I think to chalk it up as a family vacation, that's the most memorable that stands out, because we did stuff with Dad and Uncle Mike. We did stuff with Mom. We did stuff with everybody. I mean,
You got a black eye.
I got a black eye. Singing the old songs in the van.
1840.
1840. We took a little trip.
14.
1814.
So Uncle
That's
Mike's.
So that's gonna be mine. Is the trips to, and it's kind of multiple, but that one to the water park really stands out.
Good old splashdown.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right down your neck of the woods now.
Down my neck of the woods.
Plinko in the basement.
It's Pachinko.
Plinko.
Chinese
Whatever.
gambling.
So,
At a very young
Sean and Matt doing all kinds of crazy stuff in the back, fireworks. I mean, you name it.
Riding the moped.
Riding the moped.
Riding the moped.
I think we played
eating
paintball or
bugs
something
while you're
in
on
the
the-
woods.
I think we were just shooting paintballs off the deck at the woods.
Might have been it.
The hornet's nest. I mean, yeah,
A lot of
there was
good
quite a few good
old-
times down in
The old
Manassas.
grilled cheese incident in the basement.
No, it was lasagna.
This
Lasagna.
Yeah.
black
Too
and
much
white
cheese.
tile and a
Woods
whole
of the
bunch of
Owl.
poop water.
Give a hoot, don't pollute.
Give a hoot, don't pollute. Hootie the Owl.
What about you, Jay?
I would have to say it's probably one of the cruises we went on. Think probably, story-wise, the cruise we went out of Miami on the Norway with mom and dad, and I think Taunt and Uncle Hans. And I remember playing like Hearts or whatever we were playing with Uncle Hans in the library, and like,
Yeah, that was a good one.
Michael sneaking into the kitchen to get Uncle Hans a sandwich after like the dining room was closed.
I made it into the bridge on that one.
He used to go get omelets made, special omelets.
Yeah.
What was the waiter's name?
I
Raphael.
don't remember.
Raphael, that's right. Plastique.
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 But my favorite story of that entire time was you guys decided to go. I think it was a great idea to go on a bike ride in St. Thomas.
Oh, that
with
was me and Mom.
And
Oh.
I looked at Dad and I was like, that's not for us. Because Dad, I think, would probably just had knee surgery.
Sean, did you come on that one?
Yeah.
Or was that just me and Mom?
Where
Did
did
I?
you go?
I don't remember.
You weren't.
No,
Mom,
Sean-
You weren't with Dad and I.
Sean went on his own little
Did you go
excursion.
scuba
I went
diving or something
scuba
like that?
diving.
That's it.
yeah. Because it
So
was
you
just me
was-
and Mom on that.
Yeah, you went scuba diving.
That was
You
the
went
worst
to-
decision I ever made.
On a bike ride in a Caribbean island in the middle of summer with Mom, because that's a great idea.
A lot of mountains over there in St. Thomas, too.
I was just there. There's a lot of mountains. But Dad and I went on a jet boat to Megan's Bay to go snorkeling. We get on the jet boat, great time, blasting out around the island from wherever the port was we were in. Get back on the boat after like 2 hours at Megan's Bay, and they're serving rum punches. And Dad goes, "You want one?" And I'm like, "Why not?" I'm like 16 at this time. And I'm like, "Let's do it. Let's send it." So Dad's like, "All right, here you go." Gets me the first one. Delicious. Gets me another one. Delicious. Third one, this boat couldn't get back to port fast enough because I was absolutely hammered. And it's the first time I'd ever gotten drunk. And Dad is sitting next to me laughing his ass off because he is like, "You're a dummy. Like, should have stopped at 1 or 2. That third one's going to put you in the hole." And I remember getting back to the boat and just being like, I need to take a nap, and just crashing for like, I think I slept through dinner. It was so bad. And Mom was like, "What happened to him?" And Dad was like, "Oh, it's just seasick. He got seasick." Like,
I
wouldn't tell
remember
Mom.
that.
Wouldn't tell Mom.
I strictly remember we get back and Dad's like, don't wake Jason up. He got really sick on the boat.
He was really seasick. So, by far one of my favorite stories. And like I think it was the same cruise. We went to like the Norwegian key member or whatever party, like sail away party, and I think we were drinking screwdrivers. And like that was another night that was like dinner was rough, but not as bad as the jet
I think
boat
that was
cruise rum
I think that
punch.
was the night you tried escargot.
I tried escargot on my last cruise in April. It was
Escargot's
delicious.
delightful. It's delightful.
It was so good.
It's very garlicky, yeah, but it's good.
You can only taste the garlic. It's delicious.
It's good.
It's delicious.
I think
When you
that was
turn
the
40,
cruise.
you'll like it. In 2
Like a
years.
That
loogie
was the
in your
cruise that
mouth.
Dad also did
Ordered
the
the pot
tequila
roast.
tasting, and it was roast pork, but he thought it was pot roast. And
Yep.
that's when Mom looked at him and said,
You're done.
cut off.
One of the
Actually,
many times we saw him cut it
Speaking
off.
of that, I've been trying to figure out which trips were really. I mean, there's so many. We were very fortunate to go on a lot of vacations with timeshares, so we went all over the place. But I think some of the most fun times that we had as a family were going to Duck.
Yeah.
Yeah, going to the Hunter's House in Duck with Jim, Joyce, and the boys, and just having a week of story time with old Uncle John and Chernobyl out on the driveway,
Drinking
and
too
old
many
Whitey
Rolling
in
Rock.
the in
Yeah,
the
he's a
little
Yingling guy.
garage, and then getting
No,
cut
Sean-
off at dinner.
Sean was
Wanna-
drinking Rolling Rock that night.
I don't know what I was drinking, but I drank a lot of them, and I almost found my face in the plate. And Mom looked at me and said, "You're cut off."
You're dead.
Yeah. So I think that was those. I mean, the Outer Banks really is just every trip that we went down there, whether it was us and Dad or with the whole family going to Helen and John's. Just an awesome place. It's just such a sweet family vibe there because you're not trying to do a lot except for go to the beach. And, the beach is mom's happy place. The beach is, at least it's my happy place. Jay, I know you're not like a huge beach guy, but I think it's
No, I
grown
love
on
the
you a
beach
little
now.
bit. Been grown
Yeah.
on you. Dad was
Love
never a
it now.
huge beach guy, but,
Well, I
we
completely
went to
get
the
it
beach,
after
stood at the
having
surf, hung
having
out,
all these-
looked at the sights, beautiful
Have-
water.
having all these kids and trying to drag everything to the beach, and there's sand everywhere, and you never get to sit down. Like, like we were talking about the one episode. I get why Dad. I think I said it one day. I get why Dad hated the beach.
Well, yeah, I
Well,
mean,
I think the Outer Banks is different too because you can drink on the beach.
Yeah.
So like
Well, I mean,
we could have a couple pops on the beach, and whereas in Jersey that's not allowed. Like you can't do that.
I mean, technically you're not supposed to.
So
you're not
talking
supposed to.
about duck trips, Sean, do you remember the one after the P-PAC Gladstone parade?
Oh, yeah, I do remember that one.
I
and
remember it.
That
It was
was a
not
rough- that
only
was a
a
rough
family
morning.
trip, but Hunter rode down with us.
That's right. And we drove through a
And
tornado.
No,
You
that's-
woke up.
It was
all I did was
the
hand
golf
you.
trip.
All I did was hand you.
That was the golf trip.
It was a golf trip.
Which one?
No,
No,
the people
he rode down with
Gladstone, for whatever reason it was just
No.
Dad and Sean and you. I didn't go to that one, but I was there for the preamble.
There was Mom and Hunter in there too.
I feel
Maybe
like
I
that
thought it
was
Sean
yeah.
had a ride in the back seat, and all I did was wake him up with a black cup of coffee from Old Town, Taylor ham, egg, and cheese, and
Mhm.
said, "Get in the car and just sit down."
That's all I needed.
I mean,
There was no more booze in my system.
I've been there too. So I think everybody has that one story of drunkenness and stupidity before a road trip. I mean, luckily yours was, for me, it was only like an hour and 45 minutes. You were 8 solid hours
8 solid hours.
in the back of the Mamba.
But I mean, that's a test to true, like, we're talking about family road trips, right? We're a little reminiscing here, but like family trips aren't easy. Dad was a planner. He had to do things certain ways, had to wear sneakers, had to have them tied because you never know when you got to get out of the car, and you can't wear flip-flops when you're driving on the road. Mom had to have certain things certain ways, and we learned at a young age, when you're told to get in the car at a certain time, you get in the car at a certain time. And that lasted all the way up to even the days after a P-PAC Gladstone parade when you had too much, what was it? Hook juice. But like, as a parent now, it's the same way. Like when we take a trip to Myrtle Beach, we were leaving it. Sometimes we've done all different kinds. We did 11 o'clock at night, kept the big kids up as long as we could keep them up, put them in the car, but it's inevitable. You're going to fight with your spouse. You're going to fight with your kids. You're going to fight with yourself. You're going to forget something. You're going to turn around. The stress and work that goes into providing a fun-filled event for your kids. Because I like to use the phrase, it's not a vacation, it's a relocation sometimes as a
trip.
parent.
Yeah.
It's a trip.
We're just relocating the chaos to a different location.
Yeah. I mean, when we went to the beach for 4th of July, we turned around 3 times in the neighborhood. Before we even got out of the neighborhood, we turned around 3 times. I mean, it's inevitable. And I think, talking about planning, Dad never used a travel agent. So I think for me, I've never used a travel agent. I've always booked everything myself.
He used AAA
Yeah.
to get the maps.
I mean, I book everything myself, and most of the time my family has no idea any of the details. My wife doesn't know any of the details. She just knows we have to be here at this time and everything else is taken care of. So and I don't know now the 30 to 50-year-old demographic, right? I don't know how others do it. I know that there's so many services out there that provide stuff. I know, Jay, you have a little bit more insight into that with like the Disney vacation planning and stuff like that. But I think also influencers have a lot of influence over where people go.
Right. But yeah, I mean, go
Yeah,
ahead.
the timeshare stuff has kind of gone by the wayside a little bit. People don't own timeshares. If they do, it's, you know, usually a floating week, so it's not the same week every year. You don't get the same unit every year. Whereas like we go to the Outer Banks and it would be the same unit and it's the same week every year. You know, Massanutten was, I don't know that it was the same unit every year because a lot of times I think it was a trade. I don't know that we owned there, but we would trade into a
Massanutten?
unit there.
No,
Yeah.
he owned.
They owned
They
Massanutten.
did at the
He would just
towards
trade the week
end.
we went.
No, so they owned up on the hill initially,
Well, that's right.
up at against the summit. It was
The
called
Mountain Vistas or the
something like that. And then Mountain Vista is what they own now, what Mom owns now.
oh, yeah.
And that was the
The little-
one down
like
at the
the
golf
ha-
course.
Yeah, I forget what that one's called. Eagle Trace, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's like timeshares are definitely like you hear all the timeshare stuff nowadays. It's like, do you have a timeshare? Like we can get you out of it. It's only going to cost you $500 plus whatever your deeds. Like we didn't like growing up. That was just our vacation. Like we just traded timeshares. I mean, we traded to Florida. We traded to Georgia. We traded Hilton Head all the way up the entire East Coast. I think we went up
Sky
to Maine.
Valley,
We went up
Maine,
to
New
New
Hampshire.
Hampshire. Like we did all.
Wisconsin.
Did we do
We
this?
went to Wisconsin.
We did
Dells.
the Dells. Yeah, we did the
Yep.
Dells.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I
like,
think
we
that's
did
the furthest
everything.
west we ever went with a timeshare. But yeah, I think we were in a great spot where we got to experience a lot of the country because of timeshares. We got to experience a lot of the resorts areas because of timeshares. And, you know, back then, I think now it might be a little bit different, but back then it was a really somewhat economical way to go on vacation every year.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean,
You could buy a timeshare for, you know, less than you could buy a vacation home. You pay your maintenance fees and you're good to go.
right. And like I think the reason we were able to go to Disney every few years was because of the timeshare. I mean, it was not cheap back then. It's definitely way more expensive now than it was back then. I mean, like you just go to the park for a day, it's $300 a person almost. Yeah, I think we definitely got to do a lot more as kids because of the timeshare. And
Well,
like
Disney-
Dad would also like we didn't fly unless it was like something out of the ordinary. And the only reason we would fly or it was even an option was because Dad traveled so much and he had the Sky Miles. He had the hotel points, so we could trade him in. I mean, the man retired and had enough Amex points from traveling at work. He like traveled off them for 5 years after he had retired. So we were blessed in that way. And like, yeah, we didn't see him, but like when we did see him, we got quality time and he would take us to these places. Like remember in Georgia being up in the mountains and the golf course there was just absolutely gorgeous because it was just in a valley
Sky Valley.
surrounded by these mountains and it was absolutely gorgeous.
That was like Seattle. I never would have thought to take my kids or anyone, you know, to visit Seattle. You know, a lot of people went out there to different places with like the World Cup this year. You know, people saw a lot of different places in the countries but like the memories just in Seattle alone between the Space Needle and, you know, the fire alarm going off and getting candy from the candy cart in the
That was
lobby
Boston.
that
was
was Boston?
That was Boston. It was the last time I ever ate tuna fish.
Oh, that was when we went to Cheers too, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to do the duck boats.
We're on the 28th floor or something. Like, no, it was like the 70-something floor of this hotel, and the fire alarm goes off. And best part of the entire story is Mom opening the door and these two larger women trying to get down the fire stairs at the same time, and they got stuck going through the door. And like that was Mom's favorite thing. And like, but I also remember Mom being like, "Okay, we're gonna put towels in the bathtub and get them wet in case we need to evacuate." And I'm freaking out. And Michael's downstairs in the lobby getting free candy with Dad after going to like Subway.
Yeah, they weren't upstairs. It was just the
Yeah,
three
we
of
went
us.
down. We went down to see the conference room, or there was something
Yeah.
he had to do, And we met, oh God, who was his boss? I can't remember who he was.
Was it Brad?
I can picture him. No, it was the older guy, big guy, glasses. Gosh, it was still AT&T at the
Paul
time.
Magnotes.
Yes.
Yes, Paul.
So we had to go do something, and this fire alarm goes off, and Mom's upstairs with you two, and it's Magnotes, Dad, and me. And there's a candy cart, and I'm like, oh, look, fire trucks. Oh, look, candy. And Dad's like, here, you want some? I'll never forget, it was gummy worms. He goes, you want a bag of gummy worms? So we went outside and we sat in a limo from one of the execs because they were waiting out there. They knew Magnotes, and they were like, oh, kid, come here. Come sit in the back of this limo. So I'm sitting in the back of a limo like Home Alone, eating candy worms as the fire trucks are pulling up. You guys are putting wet towels in the
Only
tub.
Only
Oh, I mean, but again, that's a lot of experiences we had, and we were very fortunate. But because Dad traveled so much with work between the points when we did family vacations, or he would turn work vacations into family vacations.
Yeah, work trips into family vacations.
And that's when we got to experience a little bit, and we were still with Mom most of the time, but in the evenings we would spend it with him. And Disney, again, he would trade to go down there, and we would go to say timeshare. But I remember the annual meeting at Disney when we stayed at the Swan,
Swan Dolphin, baby.
playing mini golf just outside, and living the luxury. And Dad made a point to tell us, like, hey boys, don't get used to this. This is a work trip. Like, we can't do this all the time. But that's how we got to Disney as much as we did. And again, very fortunate at the time, because it still was expensive even for the time.
But they also had those like lifetime passes that they would buy, right? Like they're the anytime passes they used to sell. So like they would buy those passes, and then they'd buy like 10 days, and we'd go down there for 5 days, and then we would have 5 more days the next time we went down there. So it wasn't as much of a burden as it is now, right? Like you look at some stuff on social media, and it's cheaper to fly to Tokyo Disney, get in the park and stay there, than it is to go to Walt Disney World of Florida.
I actually priced it out, and it's significantly cheaper.
I believe it.
To go to Tokyo or France and stay there. This includes airfare, transportation, tickets to the park, and everything. It's like $2 or $3 grand cheaper, easily, to stay at a luxury resort over in one of those two places than it is to go to Florida or LA.
It's crazy.
And it's just mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. I mean, we drove to Florida this time when we went with the kids back in February, and that was miserable. I don't know if I could do it again. Like, we stopped.
Did it once.
We actually saw snow in Savannah, Georgia, which was pretty awesome. We were sitting at dinner at the Pirate House, awesome little restaurant if you ever go to Savannah. Great with kids. But we're sitting there, and there's snow accumulating on the ground in Savannah, Georgia. And like, this is a once in a lifetime thing for them. It was so cool. It was awesome. But like the driving on us, and like Dad drove all the time. Like, we never saw Mom drive. And that's kind of how I am. Like, I like to drive. I don't mind driving. And my wife doesn't like to drive. So I love it. I'll drive anywhere. And like nowadays with technology, I mean, set it and forget it kind of thing. It's like the old oven. But like the one thing that like we have an issue with is overpacking. And like, I don't remember us ever overpacking as kids. Like, I remember us being like down to that one last pair of underwear, and like, you hope you made it home in a day because that was the last one. But
well, that's
like,
also, I think, because we had the timeshares and we had washer dryers in it.
Right. I mean, we had a washer and dryer at the house, and like, I packed in a duffel bag 2 weeks ago, and like, I still overpacked, and I hate overpacking. Like, I would rather go out to Walmart and buy the clearance boxers than pack another 4 pairs. And like, it's just overpacking. Like, we packed all of our beach stuff in the top of the car. Like, we have one of those bags, and we packed all of the beach stuff. I never opened it. Didn't take the chairs out, didn't take anything out, loaded the wagon, 4 chairs, the sand toys, Ryobi fans for the beach. And like, I never even unzipped it when we got there. And I'm like, why did I struggle to do this? And like, there's chairs at the house. There's 9 chairs or 12 chairs at the house that we had access to. So it was like, and they had beach toys. So I think for me, like the overpacking, and like we never saw mom and dad overpack for us. Like, and I think we never, mom usually packed for us most of the time. I don't remember packing until I think I packed one time when I was going down to the shore house with Tante and Uncle Hans, and I packed myself and forgot underwear. And like, that's something that I never lived down. Tante made fun of me for that until probably the day she died. And she's probably still sitting up there laughing right now at the fact that I'm talking about it on the podcast. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you need to learn the lessons, and like with our kids, like we do a lot for them. Like we pack, but like we're finally letting like our 14-year-old pack for herself. Okay, if you forget it, then sorry, champ. Like we're out of luck, but we'll help you out and figure it out. Like if it's an essential, I'm not going to go out and get your Monday's whatever shampoo.
Sol
like
de Janeiro.
$18,000. I'm going to go get you Suave. That's $2 on the bottom shelf because you're
Per
on
plus.
vacation and who cares? So, I mean, I got the 3-in-1 big bottle pump for Jake and I, and is $3.
I'm all
It was
about
great.
using what's there, whether it's a hotel, Airbnb, whatever they supply.
No, I can't do bar soap. I don't like bar soap.
But, you know, on that, and it kind of goes back to, you know, our independence episode, you know, in our house, everybody except the twins packs for themselves for the most part. You know, Brittany does a lot of the packing. She'll pack for all the kids. And then I kind of come in on the back end and I'm like, do we really need this? I'm not an overpacker. I can put it all in a 3-day duffel bag for a week. You know, if we're going to the beach every day or the pool every day, we're somewhere. I only need 2 pairs of shorts, 3 pairs of shorts. They get dirty, I'll find a place to wash them. But, you know, you got to get kind of creative. You know, we let our kids be a little bit independent with it. As I said in our first episode, you know, for those of you guys listening, I have a big family. So traveling for us is, it's expensive to fly. It's expensive to drive. We have very creative ways to pack. It's kind of like a Tetris move in our trunk. But, you know, when we went, for those who are looking for ideas, especially those who might have, you know, multiples, you know, it's a club of multiples, whether you have twins, triplets, quadruplets, God help you if you got quadruplets. But I ended up figuring out it was easier to fly Brittany and Avery and the twins to Myrtle Beach and drive with my middle 2 and pick them up at the airport than it was to try and get the twins below the age of, I think it was 4, into the car and travel for 8 hours. And in all honesty, we found cheap flights. You know, it wasn't, they were lap tickets at that time. So I was only buying 2 tickets.
Right.
Just recently I had to buy 4 tickets, but I was only buying 2 tickets. We didn't have to get a rental car when we were down there because I was down there. And I timed it to where their flight got in the hour we were supposed to arrive. So I was able to drop the 2 middle ones off, drop all the luggage off, go right down to the airport, pick them up. And then I would, of course, you know, take a nap or whatever, because we would leave at like midnight and just drive straight through. But, you know, you got to get creative. One, for cost. I mean, it's expensive to travel nowadays, especially as a younger family and a growing family. But it's stressful. You know, I can't imagine the stress that mom and dad went through. I mean, we knew how, when it came to traveling with dad, he was so meticulous because like you said, Sean, he planned everything down to the time we had to leave. He had it down to the traffic and the research he did on when traffic happened, when rush hour was. You know, what was the time? Outer Banks, 10 o'clock. You leave at 10 o'clock. That was the set time that you had to leave by. But it can get extremely stressful. And then you throw it in with all the other stresses you're having. I mean, I think last year we didn't take many. Well, last year we did. The year before, while, you know, dad was going through a lot of his stuff at the time, we traveled a lot up to New Jersey, small trips, little trips, because it was too stressful to put full vacations for us, at least, on top of trying to be available, trying to see the people we wanted to see. We kind of had to pick and choose, and we had just recently started talking about taking our own family trip for once, for the first time in a long time, where just the 7 of us go somewhere, because the kids are finally, the twins are finally old enough that they're a little bit self-sufficient. They're potty trained. We might have to stop. I'm fortunate that I have 5-year-old boys, so I can stop at the side of the road and they think it's the best thing in the world to pee over a guardrail. So, for me, it's a little bit easier traveling via car, but you got to get creative with it. That's the biggest thing, is trying to get creative while minimizing the stress and not stressing the little things. I mean, that's my flaw, is I'm like, Dad, there's a set time we got to go. We got to leave by this time. We got to get out the door. I want everything packed the night before. Like, we got to be set. So it's a lot to put on. But there's easy ways, definitely easy ways. Sean, I mean, you got the smallest family, and still, it's stressful for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's stressful for us for different reasons. Working shift work, so the way that the shift schedule works is I'll take one shift off, and that gives me 8 days. So I'll have 8 total days to where we're off, and we can go. So every year we go up to the Jersey Shore, to the family shore house for 4th of July. We've been doing that for, since Kate and I have been together, so 16 probably years. Even before that, we would a lot of times do that with, the Thompsons or somebody else, where, the majority of us would go. But
We're
as we
down there
branched
every year.
off, had families, right? Like, we ended up that's our vacation. And a lot of times that's the only vacation we take every summer. But leaving work, I leave work after my shift, I come home, and we get right on the road. And that's a difficult thing. And if you're a first responder, you know that you need a little bit of time to decompress after your tour. Whether you're a police officer, whether you're a firefighter, whether you're an EMT, you need a couple, maybe 35 minutes to an hour to decompress and get out of work mode and into home mode. And if you don't have that, your brain just doesn't function appropriately, and you get a little irritated. And that's kind of happened to us this year, where I got home, I threw a bunch of stuff in the bag, and we got on the road. I was still in my uniform, my sleeping uniform, gym shorts and a uniform shirt. And I'm driving up to New Jersey, and we get there, and then it's, all right, well, we got to unpack. Now we have to go, and now we're going to the beach. Now we come home. So it was a difficult transition this year for sure. But even a family of 5, it's very difficult to find affordable vacations, because you a lot of times have to go to either a suite or you have to do 2 rooms. And I think going back to the difference between our generation when we were younger and now, is there's a lot more things that our kids are involved in. So when we did sports, when we were younger, it was rec sports. We didn't do club. There was no club sports. There was no, extra cost for sports. But when you're spending almost $10,000 a year on sports, your vacation is going to a tournament.
Yeah,
Your vacation is going to, the family beach house, where you don't pay for lodging and you pay for food to cook and for the boardwalk. But you don't have the opportunity to go away for a week. 1, because it's expensive. 2, because you have obligations almost every weekend. That's the biggest difference. Yeah.
Like, we were, the first 3 years we were down here, we didn't take a vacation. We didn't go anywhere because our summer vacation was going to dance nationals. And the first year it was in Virginia Beach in July, which you're paying $500 a night for, even with the discounted rate. And then the second year it was in Ocean City. And we stayed in the dumpiest hotel in Ocean City. It was horrendous. The only hotel I think is worse than this one is the Cooperstown Hotel.
Cooperstown.
Where the chalk mark was still on the floor from the body that
was
stayed
a tough
there
one
before us.
Yeah, that was.
But we walked up to the room, and it was there was plywood on the window, and like we're like, what is this? And then like you walk in the room and the door is off the hinges because it was a bunch of teenagers that got drunk and kicked the door in, like into the bedroom. And it was a suite, like we had a kitchen, but it was like we didn't really have like a huge kitchen.
Hey, Addie.
Thank you. Do you want to say hi?
Yeah.
This is Addie and Riley. This is my third and my first. Everyone say hi.
Hello, girls.
I can't hear.
Hi,
them.
girls.
Uncle Sean and Uncle Michael say hi.
Their mouth didn't move.
They did. It did. So, all right. Thank you for my snack.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. I'll see you in a little bit.
Bye.
Love you. But yeah, so like Ocean City was it and like you go to these national dance competitions and you're never dancing on one day. It's always like you're dancing at 8 a.m. today, then you're dancing at 2 p.m. today, then tomorrow you're dancing at 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. So it's like there's never an option to have everything in one day. Like it's always like multiple days over stupid time periods. And like we had 3 other kids that had no interest in sitting in a dance competition for 8 hours. Like that was my job, it was literally how can I entertain these kids for 8 hours at a dance competition? And like we got snackle boxes, which is like the new big thing. They had their Kindles with like their little movies on them and stuff. And like we tried everything. Games, magnetic games that like we used to play traveling, like the checkers games and like Monopoly or whatever. Like we had all that stuff. But like you get to a certain point, and like even as an adult, I got to a certain point where I'm like, okay, like I'm good for the day. Like 6 hours is rough. And like you're sitting there in the dark and like it's awesome. The dancers are awesome and it's fantastic. But it's like you get to a point and like you can't sit in a folding chair any longer. So I had like a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old at the time. And like, you can't, it's tough for them. And like, that's part of the juggling act is like, you want to be there to support your kid who's dancing, but I also have to take care of these 3 that are not dancing. And like, what do we do? Do we go to the beach? Do we try and go to the beach by the convention center? Or do we do this? So it's all part of that
So-
juggling act.
One of the things that I learned kind of with that, I mean, we just started traveling a lot with sports, with Abby and gymnastics, and they were all over the place. And Aiden with, his tournaments between golf and soccer now. I mean, golf, it took us down to Palm Beach, which was an awesome trip. But
I stopped at that Buc-ee's, by the way.
yeah, that's apparently amazing.
Glorious Buc-ee's.
But the one thing that I learned, the hard way to kind of minimize my stress in family vacations now is I lowered my expectations. You have to lower your expectations. When I'm planning this trip, my expectations are like up here. I'm like, all right, we're going to do a water park. We're going to do, a night out or 2 nights out at a restaurant. We're going to, go to the beach. We're going to do all these things. And then inevitably with kids, somebody gets swimmer's ear or somebody, doesn't feel well or somebody's throwing a tantrum. And if my expectations are still up here, my stress level goes up there. As a family, you almost have to lower your expectations down to what's the minimum we're going to do. And then if we get to add anything to it, great. If not, oh well. And Brittany actually said something to me last time we went to Great Wolf Lodge. She's like, you spend money when we're on vacation. And I was like, yeah. I said, you work hard to play hard. And if we're here and we can, and the kids are, doing what they're supposed to, and we're not dealing with, Brooks throwing a tantrum about not having the right sock on, at the end of the day, we can go and do, mining at Great Wolf Lodge, or we can go do mini golf or take a trip out to a park and that's like, those are the things that you're thinking like, all right, where can I take what attractions? Sometimes my kids just need a trip out to the park. We went down to Williamsburg to Great Wolf Lodge, and day 2 in the afternoon, they were over the water park. So we found an unbelievable park, 10 minutes from the lodge, and they spent 2 hours just playing at this park. But was that in my plans? Absolutely not. Was it a nice break, absolutely. Brittany and I were able to kind of sit back and truly relax outside for a little bit. But you can't go in with such high expectations it's going to be perfect, especially when you have a family that you're taking.
Yeah, I don't think you can have any expectations, quite honestly. I've left expectations out now. I have expectations for myself. I'm going to sit on the beach. I'm going to read a book, maybe some of a book. I'm going to try to unplug, right? Take and not be on my phone all the time. Try to enjoy the little things and let it flow, right? And I think one of the other big things as a family, as a young family, for those of you that are listening that have young families, is routine is key, but also do the things that your kids do at home. Like Michael said, go to the park. They love going to the park. Guess how much it costs to go to a park? $0. And they love it because it's a new park. It's a different location. It's a spot where they've never been before. Oh, look at this slide. This slide has 3 turns and the one at home only has 2. It gives them the ability to have some normalcy, but at the same time, see a different side of things. And then the other thing about trips, and I know that both of you guys experience this, is trying to temper expectations of the other side of the coin. So the grandparents, and having them understand that we can have all these plans in the world, but guess what? There's days where the kids aren't going to want to leave the house or the resort and just go in the pool. We're not going to be able to go out to dinner because kids are feral. And that's what happens is they get overtired on vacation, and you try to go out to dinner at 6, 7 o'clock at night, and they're so overtired that they just are not able to sit still. And then it's, oh, well, no tablets at dinner. All right, well, but hey, listen, if you want to sit here, have a couple glasses of wine, we got to figure it out here. So maybe they get on the tablet. Maybe I give them my phone. But having that dynamic as well can be a little bit challenging because what the day-to-day is at your house. What to expect. When kids are about to melt down. They don't see that every day. And a lot of times when you're with them, they don't see it at all, because the best part of being a grandparent is giving them what they want and then leaving and then letting us, kind of handle it.
And then you got to spend 7 days, 24 hours a day with them.
Yeah. I mean, and Michael, when you go to Myrtle Beach, it's multiple generations.
Yeah.
So and that was a big thing that, Brittany and I have had many discussions about. And, again, expectations, right? We want to go someplace as a family, just ourselves. And having to approach that as we said in the past, you've got to be respectful, but still direct on what you want. And it's tough because you want to spend as much time as you can with the family you don't see all the time, but you also want to have that time as a nuclear family, not extended family. And then we've learned the divide and conquer method. It works for us. There'll be times when, okay, I take the twins, and I'll use Myrtle Beach for us as a perfect example. So backstory, real quick, Brittany's grandparents used to live in Myrtle Beach. So it was almost an annual trip for us. We would stay with grandparents, and, they had a great resort style pool in their community that we had access to. And then extended family, aunts, grandparents, great aunts would come in and want to do things with the kids, or the cousins would want to do things with the kids. And you almost had okay, the older kids are going to go do this. Hey, Brooks and Bradley, who are my twins, we're going to go to the pool. And I would take them to the pool, or Avery would, facilitate getting Brittany would facilitate getting the older kids to, whatever they were going to do. But again, I had to lower that expectation because you think, all right, we're on a family vacation. We're supposed to do things as a family. And that meant a lot. Like Sean, you said, my time is important. Time is a commodity you don't get back. So when I have time off work, especially as a first responder, I value that time. But I had to lower that when it came to extended family vacations because I knew that everybody wanted to visit with grandkids or nieces or nephews. And we had to make time to where now a lot of times when we, celebrate or we celebrate birthdays on these vacations, it'll be, aunts go and take one or two for like their birthday shopping spree or to Top Golf or wherever they want to go. And they spend that time. And then they take time another day to take, a different set of kids and then eventually come back. We have our day that we spend together whether it's at the beach or whether we go to the water park or just the pool. But again, that falls into that expectation and you have to be okay with, okay, we're going to have to divide. We're going to have to kind of split up, but you also have to be respectful and direct with extended family and say, this is also our family vacation. So there may be a day or 2 days where we just want nothing but us to go to the beach, or, you're welcome to tag along, but this is what we are doing. You're welcome to join, but this is what we are doing. And we're fortunate, like I said, mom and dad really just kind of tagged along. For me, it was the Outer Banks. They would come down to the Outer Banks when we went to the Outer Banks. They had their condo. We had our condo. We would meet for dinner. Sometimes the girls would go do things. Aiden and, dad and I would go before the twins would go and play golf. But we would have the ending of the night where we would go our separate ways and we would go back to our routines. That on the other side for me, like I said, Brittany's got a large extended family. It's a little bit harder because sometimes aunts are only in for 1 or 2 days. Then another aunt comes in for 1 or 2 days. Everybody's not usually there at the same time. So that was a big thing for me. And that's why I really want to kind of reiterate to you guys listening is, your expectations have to be practical when it comes to family vacations, because I have my ideal family vacation that I probably can't afford, but
Fiji.
I would love to go to Fiji. Still want to go there in Greece. However,
Will never be allowed back in the country.
yeah. However, I got to lower that expectation.
Love my godson. I mean,
So-
I got
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
lucky. I got lucky because Liz is an only child, so we are very close with my in-laws. They live 40 minutes down the road. We're down there all the time. They're up here all the time. We travel together all the time. We almost expect them to travel with us. Like, we booked our Disney trip and we're like, hey, we just booked a Disney trip. My father-in-law is one of those people who's like, FOMO, I'm coming too. So, and like, it's awesome because like we get along together really well, where we have like the issue we ran into last week was we would sit down the beach until 6, 7 o'clock. And we have the kids and like the kids are ready to eat dinner and like go to bed by like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And like my kids don't have a bedtime. They kind of, as you can see, we're recording this at 10:30 and 2 of mine are rolling in with dessert for me. Like they don't really have a bedtime. They go to bed whenever they want. It's summer. I mean, let them live. But like eating for them, like we normally eat between like 7 and 8 o'clock. But when we're down the beach, everyone's got to come up and shower. There's only 2 showers. There's so much coordination with 9 people that we ended up like eating like 9:30, 10 o'clock, which is tough on the kids. Like we ended up throwing pasta or chicken nuggets in or something for the kids. And like the adults would sit down and the older kids would sit down later and eat. But like those expectations, like we decided to like, we cooked in most of the time. There was 9 of us. It was going to be a more expensive trip. So we cooked in most of the time. Like we went out one time and like, we were like on the beach and it was like 3 o'clock. And we're like, we got to go up if we want to go out and like actually eat before 10 o'clock. Because the kids will melt down. It's going to be a problem. Like, and like my kids' meltdown it's not a huge thing, but it's still like, it's going to frazzle you. It's going to frazzle the grandparents, and it's not going to be a good time for anybody. So like we got out, I think we were there by 6 o'clock and it was perfect. We sat down. It was an hour wait. Kids played cornhole out in like this little dirt patch or sand patch they had down like this beach bar restaurant we went to. They had a tiki bar, so the adults got drinks. It was like everyone was happy. Everything kind of lined up. But the expectations have to be there. They don't eat until normally like 9 o'clock. We, as like their nuclear family need to eat a little bit earlier. So maybe that means I have to come up and kind of start getting dinner ready, which I don't have a problem doing. I love cooking, but like it's just the family, the dynamics are different between every family and every generation of the family. Like there's times where my kids eat at 6:00 and go to bed at 8:00, and Liz and I sit down and eat dinner at 9:30 because that's when we could. But it's just the amount of activities, I guess, now as compared to like when we were younger and like we would sit down to dinner at like 5:30. Like dad would roll in the door at 5:00. Dinner was at 5:30. Now is like with all the activities, it's different. So like the generational thing is something you have to work on and something you have to negotiate and kind of work around when you're on vacation with grandparents and kids.
So I have a question, another one. Sometimes do you feel like grandparents forget what it was like to be a parent?
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
that there's aspects that they definitely don't remember.
And I don't, and
And it's
not
not a
forget.
bad
It's
thing.
not forget, right? Forget's
Yeah.
the wrong word. Their expectations, because we're talking about expectations, their expectations fall back to what they did when they were a parent and they had younger kids,
Well, it's
as opposed to allowing us to parent the way that we parent on a daily basis and enforce the rules that we have, which again may be different than the rules that we had when we were younger.
well, and that's that. I mean, like I said, on Brittany's side, we have grandparents, we have great grandparents, aunts. You know, my kids on that side are the only grandkids and great grandkids, except for a couple of my nephews in Ocean City. But for the most part, on Brittany's mom's side, we are the only like grandkids. You know, for Brittany's mom and that side of the family. I don't want to say it's they necessarily forget. I think it's a part that they block out of the stresses of traveling with kids because it's not an everyday thing for them. Like I said in the beginning of this, you know, for me, it's a relocation of the chaos that lives in our house. A vacation is me and Brittany going away. Love my kids to death, but a vacation is us actually being able to unplug for a little bit. I think the big thing for me at least is exactly that. They don't remember the stresses of bedtime. They don't remember the stresses of eating at the right time. Like you were saying, Jay, like my kids, after a certain hour, their blood sugar drops and they are like
Scary. My kids
gremlins.
get
Feral.
scary.
They go straight feral. And as a grandparent, you don't experience that every day. And then you throw them into like I said, either a 5 or 7 day trip. And we're going. They're up at 6:30, 7:00 because there's no blackout shades wherever we're staying. And they're having breakfast, you know, 2 hours earlier than they usually eat. But that means everything's 2 hours earlier on the timetable. So 7:00, they're melting down where it used to be like a 9:00 meltdown for like my kids. So balancing that, I would agree. It's not that they forgot. I think they kind of like
forget was the wrong word.
I think they kind of just, you know, outgrew that phase, or you know, they're in a different phase of life where they just want to
Exactly.
enjoy the kids all the time. And you know, I see it on grandparents' faces. Like they're like, "Hey, you know," and Brittany's mom's great. You know, when we're in Myrtle Beach, she's like, "Hey, I'll stay with the twins. You guys go grab a drink, grab some dinner, grab appetizers, something. Like just go get away, and we'll come back." And it's like chaos. It's like they look like they're like, "All right, we're ready for bed. Like, see you guys. Like,
we're
we're
out.
out.
Thanks.
Peace."
We're going to get our drinks now.
Mhm.
And I don't blame 'em because, you know, as appreciative as we are of that, it's a lot on them, and it's kind of like a reliving the moment of when they were parents and like how stressful or crazy it can be because the kids aren't in their own beds, so that means they're not falling asleep as easy as they usually do. But yeah, it I wouldn't say forget. I think it goes back to expectations. You know, their expectations are like, this is great. I'm gonna let Mike and Brittany go out and grab something to eat or drink, and the kids are going to go to bed. We're going to sit here. We're just going to kind of have it eat. And then they don't go to bed because they're up and they got to pee and they want to play one more game of Uno. That's Bradley's thing. One more game of Uno. And next thing you know, we're coming back and they were like, they just wanted to be up. And now the whole schedule's off. And it's like it takes a 2-week reset when you get home after any kind of vacation.
And I mean, I'll follow that up with, I would say the three of us are very, very blessed with the in-laws that we have. Just for hearing horror stories about in-laws, right? I think we are all very blessed that we have really, really good in-laws that would do this, they do the same thing for all of us. Yeah, it's funny. We went to Florida in March and Kate and I went out for happy hour with one of her friends that lives down there. And her brother and my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law stayed with all the kids. So my brother-in-law has 2 kids, 2 and just under 1. And then there were my 3. And we got back and Cece was like, all right, I'm going to bed.
See
Good
ya.
night. Good night. Because it's chaos. And I don't blame her because there's nights that I want to go to bed. So I'm like, all right, well, see ya.
Taylor's an angel.
Well, what's nice is that the older girls and having girls and boys is completely different. And I think that's where mom and dad struggled a little bit, was because they weren't used to, we all have girls and dad could never have been a girl dad. I tell him that all the time. I used to tell him that all the time. There's no way you could have been a girl dad. And I don't think mom would have been a girl. She's not a girl mom. She just, I don't know that the two of them had the patience for girls. Because it takes a lot of patience.
That's why I'm glad I got twin boys at the end.
Yeah, it takes a lot of patience.
That was God laughing at you.
Yeah.
That was a blessing. Give me boys instead of girls.
Yeah, so I think that, and the root of that question was just like, you go on a trip with like mom and your in-laws, and I feel like sometimes they have elaborate plans and you're like, oh, best of luck. Like, we're going to try to do this, but who knows what's going to happen. Somebody wants to go fishing today and somebody wants to stay in the pool. And, somebody is like, well, there's a new Roblox drop that I got to be at home for at 3:00 because if I don't do that, then we got a real problem here.
I don't get my new skin.
Can't get my new brain rot. Right.
One of the solutions that we came up with one year was we got our own Airbnb. It was a family vacation with extended family. And we were like, you know what? Let's get our own Airbnb. And it gave us somewhere to retreat back to. So if we were getting to Meltdown towards the end of dinner, it's like, all right, we're going to head back to our Airbnb. And then we would get back and it's like, all right, let's walk down to the beach and look for snow crab or whatever crabs, the ghost crabs.
Ghost crabs, not snow crabs. You weren't in Alaska.
No, that's what Brittany ate when she was pregnant.
So your boys
expensive.
They would probably thrive on a crab boat. Brooks would.
Absolutely.
We could send him up salmon fishing.
He wants to be a forest fire jumper now after the Canada fires.
Yeah,
out of helicopters.
Which one?
Brooks.
He wants to be a smoke jumper.
You better let the local airport know because he'll be there trying to steal a plane.
He tried to take my truck back home at Sean's the other night.
Yeah, the other night.
I heard that story and not surprised.
That's
the last time I'll ever leave my keys.
Not surprised. Love that kid.
But it gave us that ability to kind of wave the white flag and retreat back to our place where we could go through our bedtime routines, even though it was a little bit later, but we could go through our bedtime routines, kind of calm everything down. And then first thing in the morning, they would have their quick breakfast cereal or pre-made pancakes. We love pre-made pancakes in my house. So we will make a whole bunch of pancakes and put them in a container in their fridge and the kids can heat them up themselves. So we do that on vacation, and it was perfect because by the time everybody had been up for breakfast, they're like, hey, we're going to go to the pool. Okay, we'll meet you there. And we'd load everybody up in the car. We'd meet everybody at the pool, and we'd spend the day at, Granny and Granddad's. And then when after dinner and all that, okay, everybody's starting to get tired. Let's go back, or we're going to go to Broadway, or we're going to do something in Myrtle. So just a little inject for those of you that are listening that go to Myrtle Beach. We talked about playgrounds, Savannah's Playground. Highly recommended. If you go to Myrtle Beach and you need a
Are you
getaway,
sure?
Savannah's Playground.
As long as the Morehouse twins aren't there.
That
Correct.
sounds like a real interesting spot. Could be go one of two ways. I definitely go to Neil and Pam's
Oh,
to eat.
That's a story for
It's an
another
inside
day.
joke. But I
I
think, go ahead.
I got one more thing, just real quick. I think one of the things that is overlooked by the older generation too is that they are more in a retirement-esque living space. So like my in-laws have a dog and 2 cats. So their house is pretty much silent. Whereas our house is never silent. Even when everybody's sleeping. Like there's always some type of noise. And I think that a lot of times what happens is it gets very overwhelming. Because when you're so used to having that quiet and that kind of calmness, and we roll in with 4 kids and complete chaos, like it's overwhelming for them. And it's overwhelming for anybody. I mean, I remember babysitting as a kid and like being the first time I babysat like 2 kids or 3 kids. And it's like, man, what? I have to like control these 3 kids or like look after them. And it's not even to that extent, but it's just like the noise level that they have. And like mom talks about like, I just go downstairs and turn my hearing aids off. Like
Mhm.
that's not an option for some people. And like it can get very overwhelming and very overstimulating. And
that's she does say it best. She's like, my ears are tired. Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah,
Like
my ears are
that is
tired
the
every day.
line. That is the line that I think is best suited for like grandparents. Like you might not be able to put your finger on it, but for the older generations listening, yeah, your ears get tired and they just need some silence.
it's a huge change. I mean, going from having almost complete silence unless you have the TV on or the dog barks or something like that to you have 5 people under the age of 15 talking at one time. Like we tried to play a game. Holy shnikes. Like that is a whole nother ball of wax. Like you got everyone from the 6-year-old to a 14-year-old, 2 14-year-olds trying to play a game. And it's like, it's just not possible.
Yeah, and
So
then somebody
difficult.
changes the rules, and then it's just then they start fighting, and it's just
Or
a
they
real
think
situation.
they think they know the rules and they
Yeah.
tell you that they know the rules and you're wrong. And you pull out the
So-
rule book and you prove them wrong and it's just all downhill.
So the last thing I think we should kind of leave it on, and I know this will bring back some memories for you guys. Bring back family reunions. Go back to family trips, family vacations, not family reunion vacations. Family vacations with family reunions, like once every year, every other year, whatever it is. Because I remember, family reunions in Ohio,
Loved it.
seeing all the extended family.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in one spot. The expectations were low because there were 30 people, 40, 50, whatever it was
there
from
was
the extended
100
family. And that was your time to visit with family and visit with cousins. And don't get me wrong, it's great seeing cousins and family on family vacations, but I think there needs to be, almost this is a family vacation and this is a family reunion where we're getting everybody together.
Right.
That's just my 2 cents.
the side aspect of the family reunion. Because remember going out to Ohio, we always stayed at the hotel. It was like 10 minutes down the road. And like we would stay there with Aunt Di, Uncle Jim, and Jill and Jeff, and maybe Mary Beth and Craig and the girls. But like we would be able to make that escape, or mom and dad would be able to make that escape to the hotel and be like, hey, let's go swimming. Like, don't go swimming. We're not going to go swimming in the pond today. Like, we're going to go back to the hotel, like go swimming, calm down, go get dinner, and then go back and go to bed. Like, but then there was like, we had the big barbecue with the family where we were there until whatever, 10 o'clock at night. And it was just a blast. But like, it definitely, I love the idea of having the family vacation around the family reunion. Like we used to go to Cedar Point all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
That was always
ride-
like the drive out.
Yeah, like Cedar, like we would do the drive out and then do the family reunion and go out to Cedar Point for a couple days.
Yeah, and I know that we talked about that at Dad's Irish Wake, was getting something like that together. And I think a good way to leave this is don't wait until you get the family together to celebrate somebody's life, because that's too late. You want to experience this stuff with everyone that you have that's still here. So whatever it takes, get that family reunion on the calendar, get that family vacation on the calendar with, grandparents, great grandparents. Spend that time, because like Michael said, time is a commodity you don't get back. And that's something that has shifted since Dad died, for me at least, is that time is so valuable, and I value every second that I have with family. That's just, and I have no problem telling people otherwise. If you're going to waste my time, sorry. See ya. I'm good.
So shout out to Medina. We're coming for you.
Coming for you.
Love your pals coming. We'll do a live broadcast then.
Seneca Lake.
Yeah, buddy.
Coming for you.
And
so kind of to recap a little bit, right? Like vacation's a little bit different between when we were younger and now. I mean, obviously inflation and cost has gone through the roof, and, expectations. Just kind of leave those expectations open. Don't have those high
Clark
hopes.
Griswold.
Well, I mean,
And Wally World, right? We're
Clark
going to
Griswold.
Wally World.
I love that movie.
Whether it's close or not, we're going to Wally World.
Going to Wally World. Sorry, folks, park's closed. A great John Candy cameo.
One of the
Great John
greatest.
Candy cameo. But leave those expectations open a little bit. Have some things planned, but if they don't go your way, don't get frustrated. Take a deep breath and pivot, because family vacation it's not about how much you can get done. It's about how much time you can spend together, off devices, and just making quality memories.
Absolutely.
So,
Truth.
what else you got? Anything to close it out?
That's it. I truly think lowering your expectations, there's affordable options out there. So take those affordable options, and it's all possible. But be flexible, lower those expectations, and bring back family reunions.
Tractor rides.
Darn
Yeah,
right.
don't forget about staycations. We didn't even touch on that, but don't forget about staycations.
That'll have to be another
Staycations
episode.
are-
But I think the John
awesome.
Candy reference is a great foray into next week, when we can talk about movies and John Candy in particular, how he's a big part of our lives. And
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Planes, trains, and automobiles. I like me. And how we found out that John Candy actually has a pretty close tie to Dad and everything. And how movies can affect families, and how different types of movies can really bring families together.
Yeah, and I think that they also, the grief aspect, they can help you see them in a different way. So we'll get into that next week for sure. I love it. Little teaser.
Yeah, a little
for you.
teaser for you guys. But yeah,
All right.
I mean, go ahead, Sean.
No, you're good. Finish it up, and then I'll
Yeah, I
get
mean,
all
the biggest thing
important
is
stuff
make
out
sure
of the
you
way.
embrace the family time on a family vacation. It's not about how much you do; it's how much you do with your family. It's not about what it is.
Disconnect.
And disconnect. God, get off the
Get off the device.
information web. It's
Put up
horrible.
Put up your away message.
Roblox. Here.
Put up your
Be
Do
away
not
message.
disturb. Do not disturb.
All right. So, like we said in the beginning, if you have not subscribed on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, tell your friends where we're at. Follow us on socials. I Love You Pal Pod on Instagram, Love You Pal Podcast on Facebook and TikTok. And we want to hear from you. What are your favorite memories of family vacations? And what advice would you give to younger families that are struggling to get a vacation together, or, struggle with those expectations? Let us know. Let us know how we can help. And we want to hear your stories. We want to hear your anecdotal stories of vacations and what you remember. So
keep an eye out. Keep an eye out on our socials, even though we just told you to disconnect. But I think it's time to do maybe another giveaway.
Ooh.
So
I like
keep an eye.
giveaways.
Keep an eye out. We'll maybe throw in another giveaway in there. So like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff.
Won't be a trip.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
You need to share this a lot more if you want those.
Yeah.
I got a trip
yeah.
to the
Oh,
Outer
and,
Banks.
and on that note, don't forget the merch store. All the links are in our Instagram bio, Facebook bio. Go ahead and get some Lovey Pal merch, represent the brand.
Check
and,
out the sandwich T-shirt, sandwich generation T-shirt. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. So on that note, until next week, love you, pal.
Love you, pal.
Love you, pal.